of the paper thing. That gives us 3 more episodes before the end of the season, when we will have a special edition on Friday, and then it will be off until the 23rd of August, when we return with the season 5 premiere, featuring new stuff. Anyway, today's edition is a Sun, Times, Telegraph and Daily Mail edition. I'm going to be doing a speed run through the Telegraph without the aid of a page-turning butler, so that will only and inevitably end in failure, but, you know, the failure is probably the most enjoyable part of it. We're going to start with the Sun. Today's cursed background comes from the newsletter that came out this morning, UK time. If you want to understand why Rupert Murdoch is taking a Sun columnist and Boris Johnson on a troll hunt, go to brokenbottleboy.substack.com. But in the meantime, let's start with the Sun. Hey, Slinkermeyer, how are you doing? Good to see you. Yeah, so we're going to start with the Sun. I'm going to take my hoodie off. Shows you that I mean business. Right, starting with Sun, front page of the Sun. Exclusive, trolls hell. I'm not sure how this is an exclusive, given that Jack Grealish's girlfriend, Sasha Atwood, talked about this on her YouTube channel, which is in no way exclusive to the Sun. Hey, Teo writes, how you doing? Good to see you. Always good to see you here. Up at the top of the page, Kane goes AWOL from Spurs. Still, he's trying to make a move to Man City. Expect more news on that today. This stuff in here will already be out of date in that respect. And scramble to end COVID shambles, writes Harry Bunter Cole. Full story from that on pages 10 and 11. Getting inside the Sun, it's really hard to open. Getting inside the Sun, on page 3, that isn't page 3, but is page 3, Sistine, a silly girl. Sistine Stallone is forever making action hero dad Sylvester proud, even if he's a little short with her. He gets annoyed with her, and then she's wearing a furish coat in the picture. Not real fur, I hasten to add. On pages 4 and 5, we get... on pages 5, we get further coverage of what Jack Grealish's girlfriend, Sasha Atwood, called a footy wag by the Sun, inevitably. She said people sent her messages such as, I hope you get cancer and your family all die, which is horrendous, of course. A lot of these messages coming from young girls who fancy Jack Grealish. So there you go. Hey, SK, how you doing? Yeah, we're on the Sun. You just got back from the gym. Nice. Living your best life. I have sat at my desk all morning, like the slowly decaying lump that I am. On pages 6 and 7, didn't Nay do well is the headline for the eventers who got gold at the Olympics for Team GB. And Emily Campbell has become Britain's first woman to win an Olympic weightlifting medal. The Nottingham powerhouse made history by clinching silver in a dramatic final of the women's 87-kilogram category. And how does the Sun cover the Laurel Hubbard taking part in that event? Trans Laurel flop. So it turns out that it wasn't going to be that the trans competitor wasn't going to dominate the event there. On page 8, tanker warfare. PM threatens Iran with retaliation for drone killing. I'm sure they're shaking in their boots. On page 9, 2 adults and children... trigger warning for this is the death of a child. 2 adults and child arrested. Cops seize doorbell cam vid. Logan killed as his family isolate. Police have seized doorbell camera footage after a 5-year-old boy was found dead in a river after isolating with his mum and stepdad. Okay. On pages 10 and 11, botched watch list scotched. Extra travel grades to be axed. Rattled Boris Johnson, yes they can, plans for a confusing new amber watch list. You've got to think that Harry Cole enjoys writing these ones occasionally where he gets to be mean about Boris Johnson with no comeback. And the headline for the change to the app so that it pings fewer people. Just pretending that fewer people have been come in contact with someone with COVID. It's farcical. It's like weighing yourself and only putting one foot on the scale and saying, "Oh, I weigh less than I thought." Anyway, the headline for that is "Ping Your Hook." Not the greatest pun. Not great puns at the moment. On page 15, Clemmy Moody writes, "Rabid Tory haters mocking Carrie Tot need to be hashtag be kind." Go to brokenbottleboy.substack.com, chuck that in the chat there, and I break down how she's picked out a number of tiny of tweets by people with very few followers. One of the people with 18 followers, and made big news about them saying mean things about Carrie Johnson. Of course, to imply that the left as a whole were mocking her for having suffered a miscarriage and saying horrible things about her unborn second child. It wasn't the case, and even the tweets that she does reference were either unrelated to that story, posted many months before it came out, or not how she said they were. So anyway, yeah, check that out. Is it just me, or is it just the most vicious people who use hashtag be kind, says Slinkmeyer? Yes, and Simon Hedges, says Mark Canosis, yeah. On pages 16 and 17, fast fashion, how everything the celeb touch turns to gold. Basically how quickly certain items sold out when famous people were seen wearing them. The wedding dress that Carrie Johnson wore sold out in 24 hours. Kylie Jenner's Pretty Little Thing dress sold out in 24 hours. Molly May Haig's gown, 10 minutes to sell out, and 1 hour for Jodie Comer's Diane von Furstenberg jumpsuit, £708 to sell out. The question is, how many were them anyway? Dr. Chris Roberts says, Ari Grealish and his wag. Good about this particular team, which I think is significant, is that we don't really know any of the players' wives and girlfriends. I don't mean this in any kind of misogynistic way, but merely that the golden generation, Beckham, Rooney, Lampard, Owen et al., seem to be much more invested in the celebrity culture of it all. Plus, as it's now been revealed by many autobiographies from the players in that era, they all disliked each other. Yes, very good and fair point there, Chris. On page 19, Love Island to Love Triangle. Love Island's Lucinda Strafford was caught in a bust-up between the show's Brad McClellan and another admirer. The love rivals squared up in a nightclub after Lucinda, 21, was seen having intimate chats with both of them. Alan Partridge shrug. Couldn't give a shit. The Incredible Hulk. An angler poses with a massive bluefin tuna that weighs more than Britain's heaviest man. Kyle Cavilla, 28, and pals, Gareth Vallerino and Sean DeSoya, 25, landed the monster after an epic struggle. And at 9 feet 4 inches long and weighing 51 stone, heavier than 50 stone Jason Holton, the fish was so big they couldn't all fit on their 15-foot boat. So 6-foot electrician Kyle and his pals towed it for the 2 miles to the marina. Kyle lives in the British territory of Gibraltar, says it's really a fight to remember. It took all 3 guys to bring it on the boat. I think they should have just left that big fish in the water to live its big fish life, frankly. Chris Roberts continues, Dr. Chris Roberts continues, the massive absence of WAG culture in this current team is an interesting phenomenon. They play together as a club team does. They seem to like each other, play for each other, greater good. Despite the big salaries, they seem fairly humble. Is this speculatively an example of diminishing power of the tabloids? Let's hope so. To an extent, but what will happen now, as you're seeing with Grealish's partner here, is that the papers will focus more on the girlfriends of these players now that they've had some success. Guarantee you. On page 21, a wry smile again. Rylan has been pictured out smiling and still wearing his wedding ring. Absolutely no justification for that as a story in the newspaper. Rihanna wore a hat. Noel Gallagher's daughter wore a swimsuit. Maura Higgins also wore a swimsuit. And Nicole Scherzinger's boyfriend Tom Evans has got muscles. More on the story of Geronimo, the alpaca facing death. Rod Liddell gives it the headline, Save Geronimo, the alpaca facing death by bureaucrat's bullet. I would simply Rod Liddell in a Minecraft simulation. Redacted. At page 25, silly way to enter flat. Landlords a right pain. A studio flat with a window for a front door is up for rent at £750 a month. This, you see, the Sun goes, oh, isn't this hilarious? No, this is a sign of the broken culture which the Sun defends and propagates. Right, moving on. On pages 28 and 29, it's more misery memoir from Sid Owen, who says, I was directionless, wild, angry, and a petty thief. Then I got a film with Al Pacino. Wow, what a relatable story. And on page 26, another story about a child getting themselves covered in Sudocrem. We had one last week, another one here. Mark Kenosis, exchange Rod Little's life for the alpacas. I believe that an alpaca's weekly column would be a lot more readable. In the TV section, Taken, Hunting the Sex Traffickers got reviewed. They quite liked it. The Boy Who Can't Stop Dancing, Channel 4, 11:05 p.m. is tonight's TV pick. The remake of The Equalizer on Sky Witness. And How Healthy Is Your Gut, Channel 4, 8 p.m. And finally, Right Around the World with Richard E. Grant, with an actor, is a perfect travelling companion as he heads to southern Italy to follow in the footsteps of great authors whose work was inspired by that part of the world. In Dear Deirdre, X hangs around like a bad smell. Family blame care home job for our dad's death. I realise now it was rape at party. Please don't write into the Sun if you've suffered real trauma. There are other places to write into, many better ones to call and seek help. The Dear Deirdre team are not the ones to talk to. Wife left me over dinner request, and I fear daughter is neglecting sons. All things you should not be writing in to the Sun about, if these people are actually real, of course. On page 35 in Fab Daily, never fab at all, scandal of the kids left in poverty by absent parents. Mums desperate as millions of pounds of child support left uncollected during the pandemic. Once again, let's do some connections and talk about a government that has created a benefit system that leaves people in deeply fragile and treacherous circumstances, and a system in which deadbeat parents of all kinds are allowed to get away with it. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the system. But no, the Sun cannot talk about the system. Mark Kenosis says Deirdre is actually good. Advice is usually decent. It's not that the advice isn't decent, Mark. I agree with you. They do, like for instance, with the woman who has realised that she was attacked at a party. They point her in the direction of rape crisis and give some solid advice. But the point is that just writing into the Sun is it's perhaps not the best solution. So come on, how many of those parents are absent because parents are working multiple jobs to make ends meet? There's all sorts of problems. There's all sorts of problems with this. And on the same page as they're talking about this problem with these people who are suffering immensely from a system that the Sun tacitly supports, tacitly and explicitly supports. They point you to go online to fabulousmag.co.uk to read about a mum who waxes her 5-year-old's monobrow. So, I mean, that just shows you sort of the way they think about the world. Elsewhere, summer viewing, they recommend various things for kids to watch, including Horrible Histories, Lagging, Still So Awkward, Short Circuit, Diary of a Future President, Cruella, Jungle Cruise. The Batch Ladies recipes are loaded Cajun burger and lime cream pie, both of which look fine. Coins. Coins, a magnificent new 24-karat gold coin issued in advance of the Platinum Jubilee celebrations of Queen Elizabeth II. Be careful there, lads, because as we recall, Prince Philip is dead. It can happen. Anyway, £39 this coin. It's struck in 24-karat gold and exempt from VAT. They're making just 4,999 coins with a 30-day money-back guarantee. This is your opportunity to get this coin. Terrorites, we love optimism that's totally misplaced. Mark Canosis, I think the letters are all fake, but there's a fair chance the advice will reach people who need it. I'm not sure that they're all fake. I think they get some sent in. Like I say, I used to when I was at Q, I was in charge of the letters page, and I'd say 80% of the letters were real, and then I had to fix up a few ones myself to fill space. Do you get your money back if she kicks it, says Slinkermeyer? I don't know. I think probably not. They'll probably argue that it makes it more valuable. The £50 letter allegedly comes from Bethany Webb, who writes, is it any wonder top footballers such as Tyrone Mings experience mental health issues at a huge tournament like the Euros? They're under a lot of pressure to perform well. Fans sometimes think because of players' massive club salaries, they owe it to their country to win. But you can see how this amount of stress can be very tough indeed, as Tyrone says, and the abuse, some of it racial, after they lose is disgraceful. I admire every one of the England team. They played their hearts out. I hope the therapy helped, Tyrone. You're writing in to The Sun, which absolutely has a long history of publishing racist and racially coded stories about these very players. Yu-Gi-Oh! Prince Philip is dead. When did this come in? Yeah, sorry to tell you that. Fry Bentos says he hopes we get a day off if the Queen does pass. You would hope, wouldn't you? Mark Canosis, if she dies, the Queen becomes hauntology. Yeah. They're trying to sell you these horrible trousers available in navy, bark, silver, black, olive and Air Force. Just yours from £24. Genuinely some of the ugliest. Sankamaya, if she does die, those coins will really confuse future archaeologists. Yeah. And in the sport, strike 1, Kane stays home to force City move. Strike 2, fuming Levy digs in and finds Star. And at the top of the page, Oliver's army hit the town. Oliver Townend sealed Britain's 11th gold of the Olympic Games and promised to celebrate by painting Tokyo red, white and blue. The Yorkshireman ensured GB's first team event in gold since 1972, while Tom McEwen also took individual silver. Tokyo is under a semi-official booze ban, but Townend vowed the team never has a problem finding a way to celebrate. I don't think it will be a cup of tea and a biscuit. There you go. That's the Daily Mail. Daily Mail? That is the Sun. I mean, whatever. The same shit. That's the Sun. Classic double negative nice from me. So that's a minus 69.69. Right. We're going to move on to the Telegraph, which I'm going to try and do. I'm going to try and do a speed round on. Put some moisturiser on my hands before I attempt this. Slinkmeyer says, I say that as if boomers won't make the Earth uninhabitable for generations. A classic double negative nice from Slinkermeyer for the Sun. Mark Canosis says the future archaeologists will be dolphins. Right, the Daily Telegraph, here we go. Hey Google, set timer for 3 minutes.
All right, 3 minutes, and we're starting now.
Right, front page of the Daily Telegraph. Could hidden viruses in your body be the real cause of long COVID? Probably not. PM steps.
Assistant, you'll need to get them set up in the Google Home app.
Oh, right. Hey Google, set cancel timer.
All right, cancel.
Right. Hey Google, set timer for 3 minutes.
All right, 3 minutes, starting now.
Right, front page of the Daily Telegraph. PM steps in to save holidays on the continent. This is part of... Shut up! Stop it! Stop. Right. This is part of the briefing war between Boris Johnson and Rishi Sunak. So the Telegraph are taking the line that the Prime Minister saved the holidays on the continent, while Sunak's camp are saying he did. Patient safety fears after NHS trusts allow trans sex offenders in female-only wards. Of course, the spin on this is the spin that you'd accept from the Telegraph. They're claiming that they've had this briefed in from various NHS trusts. NHS app reined in to reduce disruption caused by pandemic. Hannah Betts has got a review of Fergie's new Mills and Boon novel, 3 Snogs and an Interminable Slog. It's Fergie's first Mills and Boon novel. Sturgeon invites Johnson for talks. Wallace to review interpreters' claims, he says. HS2 environmental benefits negligible. I think we could have told you that. And Kane a no-show at Spurs session. Right, moving on. Simon Milkman vaults riding's class barrier. Belarus sprinter was recruited by spies. Officials in Belarus have told her mother. Of course they were. Of course they have. Her Heart for a Compass by Sarah Ferguson is reviewed by Hannah Betts, who says Ferguson fails to fan the fire with a flame-haired dame. Tory donor regrets Charles being dragged into cash for access row. I'll shut up. There's a picture of Imelda Staunton playing the Queen in the next series of The Crown. Joyous families fly in after quarantine rules change. COVID leak from Wuhan lab, claim Republicans. They've been doing that for some time. There is an excellent picture of the lead singer from Lordi having his jab. We'll come back to that. Gooseberry growing contest turns sour after poisoning claim. Champion could have cried after losing title and alleges conspiracy to damage his prize trees. There's a nice picture of a giant panda called Juan and her new child. That's at a zoo in France. We'll come back to that picture. Greeks urged to ration electricity use as heatwave overloads grid. In the opinion section, Sally Jones gets angry about the people sharing the gold medal, claiming it heralds the end of a threat to excellence and the death of competition. Regularly, gold medals are shared. Matthew Lish says, our stalling vaccine drive needs a boost. The starey Sherelle Jacobs says, the rest of the world has shamed Britain's blasé approach to liberty. And Charles Moore says the Tories are creating a new cost of living crisis. In the features, could long COVID cause a viral spiral? Maybe. Charlotte Litton says it's time to crack down on crackbot conspiracies. Start with the Telegraph's writers. Curious Art of the Political Comeback. They're claiming that Matt Hancock is already on his way back. Jesus Christ. How the menopause is forcing women off work, writes Miranda Levy. Laurel Hubbard's Olympian. Hunger is a selfish thing. And hey, Google, stop. Electric cars threaten HS2's green benefits. Founders of Klarna's rival set for $1.8 billion each from takeover. Jack Dorsey Square will buy Afterpay for $29 billion. And Kate Andrews writes, spending sprees are no substitute for real growth. That's the Telegraph, as shitty as ever. Right, we're going to come back to those photos I promised we'd come back to, and I forgot to put the Telegraph in the frame of shame. So here we go. Here it is in the frame of shame. Slinkermeyer is correct. Pingdemic isn't real. It's still the pandemic. Repeat ad nauseum every time the word pingdemic is used. Here is the picture of the lead of Lordi having his jab in Norway. And here is the excellent picture of the panda and the wee panda baby. Right, that was a Telegraph for me, a classic, triple negative nice, even with the bonus of the panda picture. Right, I'm going to do the... Slinkermeyer is so happy that Lordi was in full regalia, me too, absolutely classic shot. Right, we're going to move on to the Times next, but I'm going to do the roll call and then we'll... Mark Kenosis, Lordi is the name of the band. The singer's name is Lordi's Monster. Slinkermeyer for the Telegraph, triple negative nice. Mark, that was a good line. I was kind of gonna try and use that myself, and I failed to say it in the time I was trying to rush through. Okay, I am the Broken Bottle Boy. You can follow me on Twitter at Broken Bottle Boy or on TikTok at Useless Conquest. In the mod squad, it is SK the Crusader, who has got good streams coming up this week and has had some good ones recently if you want to catch up on them. In the chat, also C122, H122, Dr. Chris Roberts, thanks for your contributions. Also, thank you to Yu-Gi-Oh! Everybody Loves Raymondo. Ged Station is... I really enjoyed Ged Station playing Hitman yesterday. If you don't follow him on Twitch, do that, because his streams are very good, and his stream is much more technologically advanced than mine. I may have to ask him how to help me make this better for Season 5. Hildy Lila is here. Thank you for being here. Industrial Pet, good to see you. Mark Kenosis, a stalwart of the chat and consistently funny in there as ever. Albert Camus is here. Good to see you. Pac-Man Scratch Card also. Slinkermeyer and Teo writes. Small turnout than yesterday. We had a very large turnout for Monday, but it's fine. Tuesday's a good day nonetheless. Right, let's move on to C122, H122 says Panda gets 10,000 points, Torygraph gets minus 69. Right, so yeah, we're on to the Times now. Front page of the Times. With a headline that they absolutely would not give to a piece about Kate, Duchess of Cambridge. Didn't she do well? Hillary Rose on Meghan turning 40. Fuck off. Are you a pandemic liar? I am, is the headline on a piece by Stuart Heritage. It's actually just a very lightweight, funny piece. It doesn't deliver on the headline promise. Top story top of the page story, sell footballs with warnings, says scientist in dementia study. Basically, another suggestion that heading the ball is really, really very dangerous in terms of future Alzheimer's risk, certainly among professional players who head the ball a lot. And studies suggest that players such as defenders who are more likely to head the ball have a higher risk of developing dementia in later life. Main story is go back to the office if you want to get on. Who's saying this? Is it an actual office building or a commercial landlord? No, it's the commercial landlord's greatest friend, Rishi Sunak. Who's best in the Olympic names? It's Team Tom. Story really annoys me because they've been, it's great that if you just made a team out of GB athletes called Tom, they would place 11th in the table above Italy. Yeah, or the suggestion is, right, that, or perhaps the other way you could look at it is, we still have a huge problem with diversity, that there are more, that there are that many white guys called Tom on the Team GB team. C122, H122 says both Charlton brothers have or had dementia. Yeah, that's true. Moving inside the paper, cocktails after a hard day at home, huge rise in sales of spirits. That will be driven by a press release. Gooseberry hopes crumble after sabotage. This is the story that we briefly touched upon in the Telegraph. But over here, Terry Price, a champion gooseberry grower, has lost his title after his trees were allegedly poisoned. The grandfather of 6 has taken first place at the annual gooseberry show in Goose Tree in Cheshire a record 11 times. But his hopes of a 12th victory were wrecked after 46 of his 50 trees were, he claims, deliberately sabotaged. There were tears in my eyes, Price 76 said. It was unbelievable. Mark Canosis says, get too many Toms together and you'll end up with a UK left media project. A really disgusting story here. Home Office officials have privately warned ministers that the decision to put unaccompanied child refugees in hotels risks exposing them to sex offenders. Well, no shit, but the Home Office doesn't really care. Mark Canosis loves the Gooseberry story, strong Midsummer Murders motive vibes. Absolutely, I love it. It's like real small time stuff. The wildflower meadow at King's College, Cambridge is being harvested at the end of its second year using the wildlife-friendly method of Shire horses, which leads to a pretty cool picture. Boy 5 found dead in river was kindest you'd meet, people say. It's a horrible story. A lawyer who claims she was wrongly sacked from her job after being sexually harassed lost her case after a judge warned against encouraging a culture of hypersensitivity. Nirosha Sithiropathy, who worked as a legal counsel at PSI CRO UK, a pharmaceutical research company, argued that she was discriminated against because of her age and sex. She told a hearing in Reading that her manager, Martin Schmidt, had questioned why she did not want to take up another role in Switzerland for personal reasons and said, what personal reasons? You're not married, you don't have children, and you do not have a boyfriend. Schmidt was also said to have told an anecdote during the same meeting about the Swiss office's tolerance of a lesbian staff member. Comments about her personal life made Sithiropathy feel uncomfortable and had the effect of creating a humiliating environment for her, the tribunal was told. However, it accepted Schmidt's explanation that he would have made the same comments to a male employee. Oh, fucking hell. Judge Emma Hawksworth said, the comments are unfortunate and awkward. However, we bear in mind the importance of not encouraging a culture of hypersensitivity or of imposing legal liability to every unfortunate phrase. We have concluded that the claimant was not subject to discrimination, harassment or victimization. The tribunal also rejected claims of wrongful dismissal and breach of contract after concluding her employment was terminated by mutual agreement. Once again, we come to this thing of why does the Times pick to put certain tribunal stories high up in the paper. A rapist has been found guilty after evidence was given by his daughter. A man has been convicted of raping a teenager 46 years ago after the daughter conceived from the attack pursued charges against him in what is believed to be the first case of its kind in the UK. Good. Sigma, hypersensitivity is fucking dog whistle. Agreed. Team GB leaps to eventing gold for the first time since the 70s. Knitters dive into pattern for Tom Daley's dog jumper. Weightlifter hoists a historic medal. That is Emily Campbell, who became the first British athlete to win a medal in the event. I'll stick with diesel cars, says Downing Street eco champion Allegra Stratton. Amazing. Sarah Dighton reviews Sarah Ferguson's Mills and Boon book, Her Heart for a Compass, giving it 2 stars and concluding, it's understandable that Ferguson, bullied by the tabloids and kept at a distance by the royal, might dream of the stuff that's in this book. It's less obvious why this chaste wish fulfillment should be the stuff of other people's fantasies. Right. A 19-year-old university student is celebrating today after his design was chosen to be the emblem for the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. Well, good on him. Johnson scraps plan for Amber watch list after cabinet revolt. So once again, it's whether you believe the pro-Boris camp, who are claiming that the Prime Minister was behind that, or the pro-Rishi Sunak camp, who say he was the one who twisted arms there. C122, H122, get rid of all cars, electric included, improve public transport. Yes. NHS app tweet to ping fewer contacts and appease business. Yeah, but it is an appeasal. Like it's like saying, oh yeah, it's like pretending that the enemy planes aren't in the sky because, you know, balloon owners are upset about it. Actors and an arsonist fight to close animal testers' Beagle puppy farm is the headline they put here. The actors Ricky Gervais and Peter Egan have backed calls to shut farm while protesters have been outside for weeks, with a convicted arsonist and bomb maker often appearing to act as a spokesman. Who is this person that they're... Others at the event include Mel Brown, 61, also known as Mel Brown. In 2010, he was sentenced to 10 years in prison for conspiracy to commit arson after he planted petrol bombs at Oxford University in a campaign against a new animal testing laboratory. When the Times arrived, some protesters said to speak to Brown first. I'm still campaigning, but I'm not involved in those activities anymore, he said. We live in technology-advanced age. We have developed ways of doing medical research without recourse to animals. Well, this guy served his time, didn't he? Fans doubt hit my mental health, said England Star. That's them repeating the Tyrone Mings story from The Sun yesterday. Tory Access row whistleblower tried to recruit Johnson aides. I love this. Tory Access row. Not Tory corruption row, which is what it actually is. Food poverty is apparently rife in Conservative seats. It's rife everywhere. Lawyer who warned police over racism to scrutinise strategy. A barrister has warned that police are quick to view black people as a threat. Will oversee a strategy by chief constables aimed at improving diversity and reducing disproportionality. Yeah, talk about grabbing someone, trying to bring someone inside the tent to neutralise them. Police tried to prevent release of knife terrorist, is the claim. Police tried to stop the release of a terrorist who seemed intent on violence and went on to carry out a knife attack after he left prison, an inquest has been told. Pick a fussy eater if you want a bland date. Here's a lesson for the hungry. Researchers have found that fussy eaters who avoid new foods are less likely to be thought sexually attractive. Again, a small study. Hollywood set to sell Netflix rival for $900 million. Reese Witherspoon, one of Hollywood's leading actresses, set to get a payday worth hundreds of millions of dollars after selling a production company. It's not a Netflix. It's not a Netflix rival. It's not a Netflix rival. It's a studio. Whatever. Luxury campsites, a boring mess, say not so happy glampers. Guests at a group of boutique glamping sites say they've been misled after their holiday sites were more Chernobyl than Champneys. That's been included in the paper because they like that quote. Unruly lockdown push up livestock attacks by 50% is the claim. Wally the Walrus wanders back to home waters. He's been spotted off Waterford on the south coast of Ireland, and it's anticipated that could be the start of his trip back to the Arctic. Good. Slinkermeyer, I could rant about neurodiversity and health issues largely accounting for fussy eaters. To be honest, I can't be asked. Yeah, typical, isn't it? Tara writes, weird for them to write that story and not include the way in which a lot of picky eating relates to neurodivergence like autism. Because they never do they? They never take that into account when they, Get Station, rival to Netflix original programs, I guess you could say as a push on the Reese Witherspoon's thing. Yeah, out of push, definitely. William Hague writes, honestly, a column beyond galling. We must not turn our backs on the Afghans. The decision to withdraw was reckless, but even now there are actions Britain and the West can take to lessen the damage. By the way, he's following a similar line to the one taken by David Aronovich on Times Radio today, saying, we'll have to keep giving them military support. Basically, they want the forever war to go on forever. Melanie Phillips, Anders Breivik's favourite columnist, writes, the left only cares about right-wing crimes. Yeah, and A, that's not true, and B, the right only cares about hiding its crimes and denying that they were even crimes in the first place. Max Hastings, I can't be bothered with, frankly. What does right-wing crimes mean? Yeah. Basically, she's talking about sexual abuse in Lambeth in the between the 1960s and the 1990s, and saying, look, that was a Labour borough. Said the report by the Independent Inquiry into Child Sexual Abuse says that these children became pawns in a toxic power game, both internally and between the council and central government, particularly during the 1980s when Margaret Thatcher was Prime Minister. Council treated the vulnerable children in its care as if they were worthless and showed callous disregard. Lambeth was a rotten borough, she says, where controlled by Labour Party was axiomatic, along with this adversarial political mindset against the Tories. So the central government's not to blame, it's just the council. Tara writes, insert essay about crime being a useless framework for discussing harm. Agreed. Slinkermeyer, pretty sure lefties care about Blair being a war criminal. Mark knows Lambeth is still a rotten borough. Yeah. Sarah Dyson writes on Terry Pratchett. This column is maddening too. You can't hijack the dead for today's battles. It's absurd for either trans activists or gender critical feminists to claim that Terry Pratchett would have supported them. This, ignores the context of what Terry Pratchett's own daughter has said on the issue. Dr. Chris, Terry writes, making Lambeth shit a party political thing is a gross angle, absolutely. Dr. Chris Roberts, both my kids, 7 and 9, are autistic. My daughter has PDA. Both would be described as picky or fussy eaters, but it's not a choice. It's a condition. They literally cannot behave differently regarding food or many other things. C122, H122, is Diana still dead? I think so. Mark Kenosis, go and make your husband flush the toilet. Monstrous Regiment is right there, for fuck's sake. Yes, as is Cherry Little Bottom. There's loads of stuff in those books. But also, the thing about the notion of we can't tell what he would have thought about things that have happened since he's died is, of course, unquestionable. But the framing is... Anyway, birthdays today. Good Lord, Tony Bennett is 95 years old, sorry. Professor Michael Arthur, the Provost and President of University College London until January 2021, is 67. Robert Ayling, the Chief Executive of British Airways till the year 2000, is 75. Vice Admiral Paul Bennett, the Chief of Staff of the NATO Allied Command until July, is 57. Stephen Burkhoff, the actor, is 84. Tom Brady, the American football quarterback, is 44. Jordan Dunn, supermodel and actress, is 31. Stephen Graham, the actor, is 48. Sir Nick Harvey, the Lib Dem MP until 2015 and the party chief executive until 2019, also Armed Forces Minister, is 60. James Hetfield, happy birthday to James Hetfield, is 58. Lindsay Hilsum, the international editor of Channel 4 News and a writer, is 63. Sir David Holgate, the High Court judge, President of the Upper Tribunal until 2019, is 65. Professor Sir John Kay, the economist, is 72. Sir Simon Keenlyside, the baritone singer, is 62. John Landis, the film director, is 71. No happy birthday to him. He caused deaths on a film set that were completely his fault. Ryan Lochte, the swimmer and six-time Olympic gold medalist, is 30 7. Steve Murrells, the chief executive of the Cooperative Group, is 56. Simon Mustard, the diplomat, UK High Commissioner to Sierra Leone, is 50. Mark Ormerod, the chief executive of the UK Supreme Court until 2020, is 64. Edward Petherbridge, the actor who portrayed Lord Peter Wimsey in TV adaptations of the novels of Dorothy L. Sayers, is 85. Martin Sheen is 81. Skin, singer in Skunk and Antsy, is 54. Martha Stewart, the American talk show host, businesswoman and ex-con, is 80. And Jack Straw, Labour MP, Lord Chancellor, Justice Secretary, and excuser of many war crimes, is 75. Mark Kenosis does the James Hetfield voice. Happy birthday to Skin. We stand Skin, an icon, says Tara writes. Happy birthday, Skin, says Slinker Meyer. Yeah. Skin, first black artist to headline Glastonbury. Yeah. Industrial Pet says happy birthday to Skin. On this day in 1926, manually operated three-colour traffic lights were first used in Piccadilly Circus, central London. The last word goes to Aristotle, who said, without friends, no one would choose to live, though he had all other goods. In the world news, Beirut whistleblower was jailed for doing his job. The blast in Lebanon's capital a year ago is exposed to corrupt and ineffectual elite, like the one we have here. Sunshine and thin air would be turned into water for the world in, so claims United Arab Emirates. Sorry, we didn't tell the truth, says Iranian leader. President Rouhani issued a rare apology to Iranians for the pain they suffered as he prepares to hand over to a man known as the Butcher of Tehran. At his final cabinet meeting yesterday, Rouhani defended his record during 8 years in power, but admitted that his regime had not always told the truth to Iranians, who have recently endured power cuts, water shortages, and the Middle East's worst corona outbreak. Rise up and resist the Taliban, the president of Afghanistan has told them. Yeah. Pentagon using artificial intelligence to figure out what enemy will do next, writes Michael Evans, basically just doing a press release for the Pentagon. The owner of Scholastic, the US publisher of the Harry Potter series, left the family company not to his sons or siblings, but is to his former lover. Richard Robertson Jr. handed control of the $1.2 billion publisher to Ioli Lucchesi, the chief strategy officer for Scholastic, with whom he had conducted a romantic relationship for years. Lucchesi also inherited all his personal possessions. The revelation shocked his two sons and his ex-wife, with whom he had rekindled a friendship in the pandemic. Blimey. Fungus the Bony Man for grape harvest in Champagne and Alsace. Winemakers across France are hoping for an end to rainy weather that has led to outbreaks of mildew ruining the harvests of Champagne and Alsace. With champagne makers predicting about 25% of their grapes will be destroyed, and the producers of Alsace wines equally pessimistic, vineyard owners and other reasons are nervously studying the sky. About a quarter of the average annual rainfall has fallen in the past 2 months. Taylor writes, okay, but we stand the lover. I too want to be hot enough that I'm written into a very rich man's will. I would love that for you. French Zoo celebrates new pair of panda cubs. Another great picture of the panda cubs. Of the mother and the panda cub. In the business, Americans splash out £8 billion on UK engineering firms. Ministers' concerns over McGriff bid as Smiths offloads medical unit. Dorsey sets up $29 billion square deal for Afterpay. In the Times too, the front page story on that is how Julia Hart left her strict Haredi Jewish community and became reality's latest reality TV queen. UK should be open for this business, writes Alistair Osborne. David Whiten says, to put some backbone into the boardroom, try a Swedish twist. I haven't got to work out what that means. Right. More stuff on the Maxwells. Jersey Trust papers raise more questions for the Maxwell brothers. A cache of documents discovered in a manor house squash court sheds more intriguing light on the brothers' convoluted finances. Who could possibly have imagined that the sons of Robert Maxwell would have convoluted finances? Not me, but I am the world's naivest man. In the obituaries, Eric Carter, RAF pilot who engaged in dogfights with the Luftwaffe over the port of Murmansk in a top-secret mission. He has died aged 101. He had other obits recently. He took Spitfires to Russia. Also in the obits, Gillian Sheen, the first and only Briton to win Olympic gold in fencing, who was admired for her classic technique, and Byron Berline, the acclaimed bluegrass fiddler who added a back porch country flavour to recordings with Elton John and the Rolling Stones. He's featured on Let It Bleed, amongst other things. He also had on-screen cameos playing the fiddle in Bette Midler's 1979 feature film The Rose and in Star Trek The Next Generation. His final release, Flying Fingers, appeared in 2016. Almost as renowned as his playing was the double-stop fiddle shop that he opened in 1995 in Guthrie, quiet town in Oklahoma with a population of barely 10,000. Despite its location, the double stop became one of America's best-known music stores, where fiddlers from all over the world would drop by not only to purchase instruments, but to jam in the back room. And in the sport, back page of the sport anyway, event in gold after 49-year wait. Biles in beam final today. She ended up taking the bronze. Kane tries to force Spurs exit, and Erasmus will face hearing, as Rassi Erasmus will face a hearing with the World Rugby authorities over his 63-minute rant. Markinosis says, just seen an incredible FT headline. US forest fires threaten carbon offsets as company-linked trees burn. Jesus Christ. Okay, give me your scores for the Times. For me, what? It's got to be, what? A negative nice, +1 for the Panda. So, Panda and the Grape. The Gooseberries. So, -67. C122, H122 says the Times is just cursed. Right, here we go with the Daily Mail. Yearning for the sun, we've got 50 fabulous holidays to be won. Ping, Amber travel watch list U-turn. Ping, climb down as NHS app tweet. Ping, COVID cases lowest for a month. Pings can only get better as the headline. Jesus. And then on the other side of the page, the story of the death of a 5-year-old boy. So, yeah. Fuck the Daily Mail. On page 3, from coma to gold glory, Laura Collett had a horrendous horse riding accident a few years ago, and there's now, in 2013, where she nearly died, and now she's got an Olympic gold. Superwoman Emily's silver as trans rival crashes out is the headline for that. They can't. It's not enough that she succeed. They have to be unpleasant about the other competitor. On page 5, kidnapped sprint star is given asylum. On page 6, as another British aerospace firm is targeted for takeover, minister goes into battle over $6 billion defence raid. Face of boy 5 found dead in river near home. Horrible. Amber watch list axe. Quarter of a mile queue at the airport. Pingdemic climb down. There is no pandemic. Get Station says the Daily Mail can fuck all the way off, and when they get there, keep going. Agreed. On page 15, 25 years and 5 children later, Mrs. Ramsey's back in her wedding dress. Tana Ramsey is put on her wedding dress again to show she can still wear it. Whoopie-doo. On page 14, injustice that may cost Cameron's translator his life. Ex-general hits out over awesome guy denied sanctuary from Taliban. On page 16 and 17, to his friends, he's a top tycoon who's given millions to good causes and bankrolled ministers. To his enemies, he's a shadowy figure with alleged Russian links. Now, a feud over rival Tory factions has triggered revenge of Mr. Moneybags. It's not a feud, it's a revelation of corruption. On page 19, take a group of gentle souls committed to meat-free world, stir in allegations of racism, season with vitriol, and watch out for knives in the back. That's a recipe stirring up a very hot stew in the bloodbath at Vegan HQ. Jesus Christ. Stephen Glover, the most zombie-looking motherfucker in British papers, says the Amber List shambles has marked out the border between Boris and Rishi. Iran must pay for outrageous ship attacks, says PM. I guarantee you nothing happens. In their coverage of the Sarah Ferguson thing, pages 22 and 23, dedicated to Joan Moi's review. They do pull out quotes of some grim bits of it. Here we go. Here's a couple of excerpts from the Fergie's Bonkbuster. As he pulled her closer, she twined her arms around his neck and he fastened his lips to hers again. Fastened? Coaxing her mouth open into a very different kiss. The intimacy shocked her. Her reaction shocked her even more. His tongue touched hers and she broke away breathless and utterly confused. What was this what passion felt like? And why couldn't he sweat? No, that's not in there. And then another excerpt. At last their lips met and clung and then opened into a kiss. Does this woman not understand how kisses work? That was tentative and just a little strange. He murmured her name and this set her body alight, urging her to close any gap there was between them, wanting and caring for nothing save more kisses and more of him. Oh, Jesus Christ. There we go. On page 25, Royal Hair Force. Ponytails, buns, cornrows and plaits allowed under new rules. Really, did it take them that long? The police officer who led the abuse inquiry over Edward Heath is facing serious claims about his behaviour. Their headline for the Gooseberry story is Gooseberry Foolery. On this day, August 3rd, 2021, in August the 3rd, 1976, August the 3rd, 1976. No streaker has performed to such a world audience as the one at the closing ceremony of the Montreal Olympics. There were 70,000 spectators in the stadium, 800 million more in front of their TV sets, and in the centre of the field, 200 dancing girls. Suddenly a bearded young man stripped off and joined in the dance until the police stepped in to hustle him away. On this day in 1991, a war of words was raging last night after the decision to spare Saddam Hussein after the Gulf conflict. It was set off by Mrs. Thatcher, who said in a television interview that the Iraqi leader should have been handed over to the Allies. MPs were divided over whether he should have been brought to trial as part of the ceasefire agreement. Happy birthday to Tony Bennett and to Stephen Graham. Also born on this day, P.D. James, who died in 2014, and Gordon Scott, who died in 2007 and was born in 1926. US actor, the first Tarzan to be given a full speaking role and first to appear in colour, starred in 6 films between 55 and 60. He was 6 foot 3 inches tall with 19-inch biceps and insisted on doing his own stunts, but was nearly strangled by an 18-foot python. It took 6 men to free him. On this day in 1963, Stephen Ward was found dead after taking an overdose and being convicted of living off immoral earnings gained from Christine Keeler and Mandy Rice Davies. All three were at the heart of the Profumo affair. In 2007, Queen guitarist Brian May had it in his doctoral thesis, radial velocities in the zodiacal dust cloud, 3 decades after abandoning it for his music career. What's that? Oh, okay. Quote of the day, Willa Cather, the US writer, 1873 to 1947. The history of every country begins in the heart of a man or a woman. And the joke of the day, I've decided to have 16 husbands. 4 better, 4 worse, 4 richer, 4 poorer. How is that even funny? And a few years after that, says Mark Canosis, Brian May tore his arse gardening. On pages, you think that's a good joke, Mark? No, I didn't think it was funny. On pages 28 and 29, Guy Adams reports on corruption in the Catholic Church. Imagine that. The plot, like something from a Dan Brown novel. The characters, the Pope's saint-maker, his glamorous Matahari fixer, and a secret cabal accused of siphoning millions from Vatican coffers, including for a London property deal allegedly sealed by a prostitute. The result, an unholy scandal. Sex, lies, and cardinal sin. Yeah, there you go. They want you to go on a cruise. They're still angry about that American cartoon about the royal family. Apparently, lots of people have missed scans during the pandemic. So, of course, the headline for that is Scandemic. Various foods that you can get folic acid from: edamame, peanut butter, Stilton, orange juice, Marmite, mussels, Ovaltine, asparagus, boiled eggs, Weetabix, kiwi fruit, and baked beans. I'm skipping through a lot of the good health section because it's not good for your health. In the cartoons, Garfield is having a little sleep. In Chloe & Co., Chloe and her friend are drinking and talking about men. And in Fred Bassett, he's out in the garden and his friend the cat comes along and they have a nice time. In the straight to the point letters. We missed the Belfast letter yesterday.
Yeah.
God damn it. Straight to the point letters. Cheryl Felix says, RNLI carrying on picking up migrants at sea, but return them to France. Mrs. Elizabeth Quinn says, it's the height of summer, but my email inbox is being bombarded by restaurants offering special offers on Christmas deals. G. Barrett says, taking a millionaire husband 32 years older seems like a shrewd move to me. A.G. Sutherland says, I'm unhappy about not wearing a mask anymore. I've had to put my dentures back in. John Bellis says, as there's a shortage of agricultural workers, why not get offenders on community service to pick crops? Alan Sharp says, after his umbrella woes, how would Boris Johnson cope with a bacon butty? Bless you. Jonathan Pete says, my preferred pronoun is ought, meaning anything at all. What? Ken McKean of Salisbury says, we need content warnings before the soaps, not carry-on films. John Cutler says, lights are always on in Coronation Street because the plots are so dull. And R.C. Crook says, Dr. Michael Mosley claims people gravitate towards areas of work that fit their names. Where does that leave me? R.C. Crook. Today's recipe, peach panzanella. It's a side salad with barbecue great side salad with barbecue chicken. It looks fine, but don't put peach into savoury dishes. Coins alert.
No
Coins.
no fucking coins.
Coins. What?
Nothing, I'm just gonna
Why no, it's the middle of the show. Focus on the spreadsheet. 50th anniversary of decimal changeover celebrated by world's first 7-sided coin. 7-sided gold 1/8 sovereign coin. I mean, they're really stretching that, aren't they? Anyway, yours for just £69. Nice. Industrial pet. They'd be shit at it. Picking crops isn't easy, unskilled work. It's not. I have done a bit of it in the past, and it's fucking knackering and difficult. 100% cotton flat front chino trousers for flat face geezers. Black, brick green, royal blue, mustard tan, pink and navy. Yours for £45 a pair, or 2 for 80 if you really want to look like that. And finally, in the sport, Kane's Mutiny. Talk about going with old references. He refuses to train in bid to force City move, and Horsepower, more joy for GB as eventing trio strike gold. See you later, Slinker. We're just finishing up now anyway. Have a really good rest of your day. That was the mail. For me, it's a quadruple negative nice. Minus 69, 69, 69, 69. Okay. That was episode 66. We are, of course, in the final few shows of Season 4 before we come back with Season 5 on the 23rd of September. But we will be going till the end of this week. If you're not yet a member of the Discord, get on that shit. Here is the link to that. If you enjoy the show and would like to help me out and you're not already subscribed here, you could subscribe on Twitch, or they mean the 7 sides plus it being a sovereign. It's all of those things. PayPal.me/conquest of the useless if you want to throw some coins into the newspaper fund. And also, if you've got a specific magazine that you want featured in Friday's extra special magazine special. And after all of that, also consider checking out the newsletter, brokenbottleboy.substack.com. You can subscribe for free. You get an email every day, and if you enjoy it, upgrade to paid, and you get some extra stuff. I will see you tomorrow at 1 p.m. In the meantime, have a really good day. Catch me on the Discord or on Twitter, and yeah, cheers. If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff that helps me out. Thanks all. Bye bye.